Hi guys, I hope you are all really well. So welcome back to Logic Language Learning. I haven't posted anything in a while. I've been really busy. So this video is the first proper grammar video since sadly I lost one of my grandmothers, and and because of Corona we have to see the funny side. We weren't able to do a normal funeral. Alors on n'a pas pu faire des obsèques normales. We had to do sort of 3 divided things, but that took a week. Then I had a residential course thing going on in London where a couple of people came and stayed, and then we organised something on the weekend, and a lot of people that follow me, you know, that you saw, got together, and that was fantastic. And then I had a lot of teaching, so it's been a bit busy. So today's video is about something I don't think I've covered on here before, and it's really interesting when 2 problems come up at the same time. From 2 different people, from completely different backgrounds, and I just think we need to do this. So firstly, we had, I believe it was Anne who messaged me, but it was the night I was actually getting a bit shit-faced with my friend Al, and I wasn't really paying attention to the message. With all due respect, Anne, I was like, oh. And then Al himself, weirdly, who I teach, mentioned something in his class the following week, and I thought, whoa, this is actually kind of, you know. So off we go. So today's video is dedicated to verbs of I can never ever remember they're supposed to be called verbs of perception, and in French you'll often call them verbes de sensation, but I always go to say verbs of persecution, verbs of perversion. I mean, I know a lot of those. Verbs of persuasion. What do I, I always seem to say a different noun. So Anne asked me this question. She said, Luc, one of my friends had said, so she'd said something like, what differences have you noticed, or something to that effect, you know, quelle différence avez-vous remarqué? And she said, Luc, and I watched your video on the preceding direct object, objet précédent direct, or as it's now known, the complément direct. And she said, so I understand that if you've had something to the left of the past participle that is feminine, then you are going to, of plural, then you will need to add an E and an S. So for example, the girl that I saw, la fille que j'ai vue, by the time you get to the word vue, you will add an E. Now, there's a video on this, but it does need a bit of an update because there are a few exceptions, but there's just sometimes when I do a video and I think I don't want to overload everybody. The whole purpose of this channel is logic language. It's not like, hey, can you remember all the minutiae of this? But basically, there are a couple of exceptions. The most notable exception with this kind of thing is the causative. So if I had a girl speaking and she said, you know, Luc made me work, Luc m'a fait travailler, it wouldn't be Luc m'a fait travailler. So if you don't understand the preceding direct object, I will attach a link to that video underneath in due course. So Anne had said, well, my French friend said that it's les différences que vous avez remarquées shouldn't have an E and an S. And she'd asked the question, like, why doesn't it have an E and S or something like that? I can't remember. And I, slightly drunk, was like, oh yeah, because it's, you know, verb of perception. And then I emailed back going, Anne, ignore me, I'd had a drink. What am I on about? No, it does have an E and an S there. But verbs of perception sometimes remove the E and the S, and I'll explain why in a future video. And Anne said, please let me know, Luc, because it's, well, I can't remember her words, but it was doing a heading. And then a couple of days later, Al, I asked him to translate, you know, I saw the guy talking to somebody, and he said, or something to that effect, and he said, j'ai vu le mec en train de parler. And I'm like, that's all good, that's all fine, but that's not the only way. So here it comes, after a 5-minute introduction of why we're doing it, the verbs of perception guide. So off we go. Point number 1. The verbs of perception mainly are, so 2 with your eyes, so voir and regarder. 2 with your ears, entendre and écouter. Then we've got apercevoir, like perceive, past tense aperçu. sentir, which is to feel but not feel an emotion. So like, je me sens, no, j'ai senti quelque chose. Yes, it means smell. And then you can also include like observer, remarquer, like other observe, remark. So something where you're referring to how you've perceived something else happening, all right? So let's talk about those. You've probably been using a lot of those verbs quite satisfactorily for a while. So you can use all of those normally. So I saw the man. J'ai vu l'homme. I, noticed, the train, whatever. J'ai remarqué, j'ai aperçu, j'ai observé le train. J'ai entendu le train. I heard the train. Gosh, it's really warm today, sorry. So in other words, you've used those quite successfully. By the way, I completely forgot to mention it. I have well, in French we say un œil au beurre noir, un coquard. Coquard can be spelt different ways, actually, about 3 different ways. Q-U with a D, Q-U with a T, C-O-C-A-R. There's lots of ways of spelling it. A coquard, un œil au beurre noir, which is like a black eye. Nobody's hit me. I don't know. I think I put too much cream on after swimming or something, but and I got a blocked pore, pore bouché. So, that's the verbs of perception. Now, the verbs of perception themselves are not going to be the difficult thing in this video. They're not the difficult thing in this video. The difficult thing in this video is all about what happens with the infinitive that follows the verb of perception. Because up until now, when you've done a verb where you've had one verb and then the second verb has been in the infinitive, apart from one case I'll mention in just 30 seconds, you've done it with the same person. So Luc va venir, Luc is going to come, Luc veut parler, Luc wants to speak, Al, aime fumer, Al likes to smoke. And can we all write underneath why Al needs to stop smoking? And I can forward him those answers. So, one of the times you've used a situation where you've got a verb and a second verb back to back next to it, but it's not the same person doing those, is the causative, which is another video I will attach underneath. So Luc makes me speak. Luc me fait parler. The fait is from Luc and the parler is from whoever's being made to speak. So it's not the only time in French that you're going to have a verb and then an infinitive where it's not the same person doing both of them. So what I want you to do for the rest of this video is not think about subjects or objects, subject being the person doing the verb that we're talking about, object being the person on the end of the verb, direct or otherwise. I want you to think, to make this video easier, about perpetrators and victims. So a perpetrator is somebody that's doing something, a crime we'll say, and the victim is somebody who's on the receiving end of, and I'm not making light of any crime or anything like that, but it's just an interesting way of thinking about this. So off we go. You can use verbs of observation. What am I on about? I told you I can't do this. Verbs of perception with just the perpetrator, i.e. just the subject, as a noun or a name, just the victim, the object, with both the perpetrator and the victim, the subject and the object, with one of them as a pronoun, both of them as a pronoun, and then we'll talk about a final rule, how that works with preceding direct objects, which is originally what Anne was worried about. So let's work our way through. So I saw Al smoke. J'ai vu Al fumer. J'ai vu Al fumer. Fumer being in the infinitive. In English, we have I saw Al smoke or I saw Al smoking. So we have either the basic present, the basic core verb, or we have the gerund, the ing, not in French. So you can't say j'ai vu Al fumant. That's not what we do here. J'ai vu Al fumer. You would use an infinitive. So I want you to think, as horrible as this analogy is, who's kind of the stronger person in the perpetrator and the victim relationship? A perpetrator, somebody doing the crime, is kind of stronger. So the perpetrator can go in two places. They're stronger. So I saw Al smoke, j'ai vu Al fumer, or j'ai vu fumer Al. And you might go, what the hell has just happened? I saw Luc run, unlikely at the moment, I must say. Alors, j'ai vu Luc courir, j'ai vu courir Luc. Okay? So that is when, if you think about it, the j'ai vu, the verb of observation is the least interesting thing for you to do here. You've then got the infinitive afterwards, and it is the question we're asking ourselves is, who is doing that verb? Who is doing that verb? So Luc is doing the courir. Luc is doing the running. So when you have a perpetrator of a verb, when you have the subject, the person doing the verb, it can go either way round. Okay? The perpetrator can go either way round. I saw the kids playing. Alors j'ai vu les enfants jouer, or j'ai vu jouer les enfants. Okay? So that's when you just have a perpetrator, a subject. If you just have a victim, but no perpetrator, the victim is weaker. I'm not saying people who have been attacked are weak or it's their fault or anything silly like that. I'm just saying in our silly way of remembering it, the victim is weaker. So I heard the music being played. You might go, ooh, Luc, is that passive, like se faire jouer, on a joué la musique? Fine, those all have a role. But I heard the music being played. J'ai entendu jouer la musique. So one of the ways that we've just done with the perpetrator, we can do with the victim, but only the one where your victim comes last. The victims come last. Okay? So I heard the dog being killed. No, that's horrible. Fine, I've said it. Alors j'ai entendu tuer le chien. The chien, you know. I heard the tree being cut. J'ai entendu tailler l'arbre. L'arbre, being tree, and tailler is a verb we use in a couple of places. Without being indiscreet, it is a verb used for certain sexual acts. But it's a taille crayon is a pencil sharpener. But tailler is one of the main verbs that you would use to trim a tree. To trim a tree, okay? So, j'ai vu tailler l'arbre, okay? So far then, what have we got? We've got one subject, one perp. So, j'ai vu Luc danser, I saw Luc dancing, j'ai vu danser Luc. Or we've got, I heard the piano being played. Alors, j'ai entendu jouer le piano. So, the victim has to go at the end. Then we have a sentence where if we've got perpetrator and victim, in other words, the person doing your infinitive, other than the verb of perception, is going to be so this now locks it down in a normal word order. So you have to say, so I saw Al smoke the joint. I didn't, he only smoked cigarettes. That's bad enough. Alors, j'ai vu Al fumer le joint. I saw Corinne massacre the kitten. J'ai vu Corinne massacrer le chaton. I saw Luc buy the chocolate. J'ai vu Luc acheter le chocolat. So in this situation, you're actually resembling the English, other than the fact that when we would say, I saw Luc buy the chocolate, or I saw Luc buying the chocolate, like I said earlier, you can't use the ing form, you have to use the infinitive. J'ai vu Luc acheter le chocolat. Yeah? Acheter spelt the infinitive way, spelt the to way, okay? Now, up until this point, a lot of you, and I've noticed a lot of my students would have wanted to say acheter, or which has a place somewhere else, or en train d'acheter, which has a place somewhere else. But this is just giving you, I mean, it's fine. I saw Luc when he was buying the chocolate. Alors moi, j'ai vu Luc lorsqu'il achetait le chocolat. There's other ways of doing it, but you just need to know this, all right? Next thing. Ing is quite a busy verb as well, a busy construction as well, and I've done a video on different ings. I don't know if this is in it, but I will try and pop that up as well. Or remind me underneath if I haven't done so. So next thing then. So up to date then, we've said that if we have just a perpetrator, just the person doing the verb, that it can go both sides. I saw Luc eat the bread. Unlikely, I'm a celiac. J'ai vu Luc manger le pain. No, sorry. When you've just got a subject and no object. So j'ai vu Luc manger. J'ai vu manger Luc. If you said I saw the bread being eaten, alors j'ai vu manger le pain. So the victim comes last. And if you have both person doing it and the one at the end, the direct object, then you have it in the normal word order where perps come before victims. So I saw, what can we say? I saw Brenda buy the dress. J'ai vu Brenda acheter la robe. Now let's look at pronouns. So if you think about it, a pronoun, in other words, when we're going to make either of these two things a short form. So I saw Al eat the pizza. I saw him eat the pizza. That would be making him a pronoun. Or I saw Al eat it. That would be making the pizza a pronoun. So we could have in other words, we can make the perp a pronoun, or we could make the victim a pronoun. So it's very, very clear here. The perp, in other words, the person doing the infinitive, would be coming before the verbs. In other words, our normal bits before verb situation. So for example, I saw Al sing. When there's just when there's just the name or the noun, j'ai vu chanter Al, or j'ai vu Al chanter. When you have a pronoun, you can only do it the one way, and you would stick the pronoun before the verb. I saw him sing, je l'ai vu chanter. And that kind of works well in your mouth, doesn't it? I saw him, oui, je l'ai vu. I saw him sing, je l'ai vu chanter. Okay? So you don't have the flexibility that you have as a perpetrator of the verb if you've got it as a pronoun. I saw Daphne laugh. J'ai vu rire Daphne, or j'ai vu Daphne rire. You can do both. I saw her laugh. Je l'ai vu rire. You don't have the flexibility. If you had just the victim as the pronoun, okay? So, for example, I saw Al eat it. J'ai vu Al le manger. You're going to stick your pronoun before the infinitive now. Before the infinitive. Now, we're familiar with both of these arrangements. I eat it, je le mange. I am going to eat it, je vais le manger. So we are comfortable with pronouns that go before verbs, and we are comfortable with pronouns that go before infinitives. So we're just going to reserve those two spaces very specifically. The person doing the verb, if they get turned into a pronoun, they will go before the auxiliary. And the thing being touched or done by the verb, that will go before the infinitive. So I saw Daphne buy the cake. J'ai vu Daphne acheter le gâteau. I saw her buy the cake. Je l'ai vu acheter le gâteau. I saw Daphne buy it. J'ai vu Daphne l'acheter. I saw Luc eat it. J'ai vu Luc le manger. Probably because Luc doesn't stop eating. So very quickly, again, I'm going to make my point up till that. I'm going to go over what I've said up till that point. So the verbs of perception that we're playing with are entendre, écouter, voir, regarder, sentir, and apercevoir mainly. But we can also bring in observer, remarquer. These are the verbs that sort of, do this. And point number one was that if you've got so you need to be obsessed with the infinitive. If you've just got the person doing said infinitive, not the person doing the verb putain de merde, mais que tu parles en anglais, quoi. If you've got the person doing the infinitive, then you are going to have them flexible because perpetrators are stronger. So I saw Luc drink the water. J'ai vu Luc boire. Oh, I saw Luc drinking. J'ai vu Luc boire. J'ai vu boire Luc. It could go both ways round. Pardon me. I heard the music being played. Now, this is the one that's going to mess you up. The victims go at the end. J'ai entendu... What did I say? I heard the music being played. J'ai entendu jouer la musique. I saw the house being painted. That's one that teachers always seem to use with this. J'ai vu peindre la maison. Okay? Because the house is not painting anything. The house is being painted. Okay? J'ai vu quelqu'un en train de peindre la maison. Fine. All right? So, perp, both ways round. Vic, at the end. Perp and Vic, I saw John paint the house. J'ai vu John peindre la maison. So the only thing to remember there is that we would need to use peindre rather than painting or paint, which would be, peint would be the short form, or peignon would be the infinitive, the gerund. Then we talked about what would happen if we had two pronouns. So I saw him sing. Pavarotti, yes, I saw him sing back in the 90s. Je l'ai vu chanter. Okay, you can't be changing that around because you've got the pronoun. You can't say j'ai vu chanter Pavarotti, j'ai vu Pavarotti chanter. You could do that, but when you bring in a pronoun, it's got to do. When you bring in a pronoun of the perpetrator, it's got to go before. Je l'ai vu chanter. If you said I saw him sing it, referring to a song. I saw Pavarotti sing it. J'ai vu Pavarotti la chanter. If I was referring to a specific song. Like Nessun Dorma. God, who doesn't love singing that in the shower? Nessun Dorma. If you, but I've got a personal hatred of kids singing. I just despise children singing. If they're singing happily, fine. But organised, recorded music with children singing, I find it haunting. I really do. I really do. My nightmare would be something like Annie or Oliver. Those musicals like this and I came out. I'm like, oh my God, I can't stand groups of organised kids singing. I really can't stand it. It's a real weakness. I heard the children singing. J'ai entendu les enfants chanter. J'ai entendu chanter les enfants. I heard the children singing it. Let's say we're referring to, again, a song. J'ai entendu les enfants la chanter. I heard them singing it. Je les ai entendus la chanter. I would put both in, but the perp pronoun would go before the verbs and the victim pronoun would go before the infinitive. Now, where we then get onto what Anne made me think she was referring to, I mean, let's be honest, I'd had a shitload, and which some French eyes are used to seeing, is if you are referring to a past participle, if you are referring to a preceding direct object, and if you don't know what the hell that is, then don't worry about that. Most of the time you won't even hear an audible difference because if you said, for example, je l'ai vu, je l'ai fermé, et je l'ai fini, so the main vowels that French past participles end in, U, I, and E acute, any one of those three with an E on the end would not change in pronunciation. So the window, which is la fenêtre, je l'ai, careful Luc, je l'ai fermé, I closed it. Fermé would have an extra E on the end, but it would sound the same. I sold it, the window, more likely to be like a vitrail, like a sort of stained glass window, but yes, say you sold it. Je l'ai vendu, E on the end, you wouldn't hear a difference because the le, je l'ai vendu, well the la actually with the window, has come before the vendu. And I will attach the video that Anne was referring to underneath. So the only time, well no, there's other times this gets changed and I will have to do an update video on that. But two of the main times that this gets changed is if you have a causative, like I said. So I made her sing, je l'ai fait chanter. I'm not saying je l'ai fait chanter. You can make fait preceding direct object, of course you can. La tarte que j'ai faite, je l'ai faite. Yeah, you're going to pronounce that past participle because there's now an E on the end of it because the shit that you made has gone before. If you then got into a verb of perception with an infinitive after it, you have two choices. Think about this. If I said, I heard the children singing. J'ai entendu, what am I saying? Oh, no, sorry, no. The children that I heard singing. I'm doing a preceding direct object, aren't I? So, les enfants que j'ai entendu chanter. The children that I heard. What could I do? The girl that I heard singing. La fille que j'ai entendu chanter. La fille que j'ai entendu jouer le piano. Jouer du piano. La fille que j'ai entendu attaquer or something like this, okay? If you had la musique que j'ai entendu jouer, the music that I heard played, that would be better. So in the example of the girl that I heard singing, la fille que j'ai entendu jouer, who is singing, la fille que j'ai entendu chanter, who is doing the chanting? This la fille, if we went back to our words that we used at the beginning, is la fille a perpetrator or a victim of the jouer? We're not interested in the verb of perception. Wow, got it straight away. We're not interested in the verb of perception because that shit's easy. We're interested in who's doing that infinitive. La fille que j'ai entendu chanter. La fille, the one you mentioned first, is doing said chanting. So therefore, you're still going to use your added E's, or S's if necessary. So the girls I heard singing, les filles que j'ai entendu chanter, the entendu would have an extra E and an S, okay? So E-N-T-E-N-D-U-E-S. If it were the music that I heard played, or being played, la musique que j'ai entendue, and la musique is just as feminine as la fille or whatever, la musique que j'ai entendue jouer is the music doing the playing, or is the music being played? In other words, is the music the perp or the vic? Is it the subject or the object? It is the object, yeah? So in other words, la musique que j'ai entendue jouer, okay, there's not going to be an agreement on the past participle. So to give you this as a rule, verbs of perception followed by an infinitive will only have a preceding direct object if the preceding direct object is referring to a subject or a perp, but that's not particularly formal language. And verbs of perception followed by an infinitive where you are referring to a direct object, which is normally the beast which is going to give you the preceding direct object, does not have. So let's just do a few little examples now and put it together and see what we come up with. I heard the music being played. J'ai entendu jouer la musique because the victim goes at the end. I heard... I mean, fine, you could go, j'ai entendu quelqu'un jouer la musique. I heard somebody playing the music, which would actually, if you think about it, be using another one of our examples of perp and vic. I saw the girl dancing completely naked. J'ai vu la fille danser toute nue. Yeah? I saw her dancing. I saw the girl dancing. J'ai vu la fille danser. Or, j'ai vu danser la fille. I heard... I'm jumping around between heard and seen, sorry. I saw her dancing. Je l'ai vu danser. No flexibility. Say we're referring to, like, you know, a waltz or something, you know, or a piece of jazz, or like, I don't know, like the role. So, for example, you know, I know many ballet dancers. So I saw her dance it, the role of, you know, Odette Odile from, you know, Swan Lake. I saw her dance it. Je l'ai vu le danser. Double pronoun. I saw Rachel dance it. A friend of mine is a soloist, first soloist actually, prima, for a Moscow ballet company. And the girl's from Manchester, so the girl done good. So I saw Rachel dance it. J'ai vu Rachel le danser. Yeah, because in other words, I saw Rachel. She's the thing doing the dancing. Dance it. The it is the thing being danced. So pronouns of the victim go before the infinitive and pronouns of the perp go before the main verbs. So I hope all of these examples were useful. Do please get in touch. Now, if you found this video useful, because it was a big grammar one, I do have a Coffee account. The link will be added underneath. It might not be underneath when I put this up because I want a couple of people to be able to see this weekend, but I might not be able to edit it. I'll put it up first and then I will edit it in a couple of days. So in other words, if it's up and I haven't in the description box put some of the examples up underneath for you to read, or if I haven't put the link to the videos I've mentioned, the ing video and the preceding direct object video, then give me some time. If they're not up in a week underneath, then please just either WhatsApp me or email me going, "Oi, can we have those videos, please, bitch?" And I will respond. But it's been very busy. All right, so I hope this has been really, really useful. The main thing to take from this is the flexibility with the subject, that can go on both sides. I saw Luc work. J'ai vu Luc travailler. J'ai vu travailler Luc. The vulnerability of the victim. So you know, that I saw that I heard the music being played. J'ai entendu jouer la musique. That would go on the end. And just the fact that we have two different pronouns in two different sets. On a final note, for the slightly more grammatically minded amongst you, last time we had a situation where we had two different pronouns in a sentence, people panicked. So I've just told him to do it. Je viens de lui dire de le faire. I've just told him for him to do it. So it's like two different people's pronouns. But if it's like, you know, I make him do it and all of these kind of businesses. There's other situations in French where, you know, pronouns come together, don't they? Obviously, you know, like, you know, le, lui and all this kind of stuff. So your brain kind of goes, is this a situation where I'm going to be joining the pronouns, or they're going to go in two different situations? And when we had, for example, the causative, so I make Al work because we is going to do his garden and boy is he going to work. So, je fais travailler. What can I do? I make him work with a him. Je le fais travailler. I make him eat. Je le fais manger. I make him eat the pizza. Je lui fais manger la pizza. You've got this ability where we kind of have to swap the le to the lui, because you can't have a direct and an indirect at the same time there. You can't have two, in other words, I can't, if I said I make him eat, je le fais manger, the direct is Al, him, je le fais manger. I make him eat it, I make him eat the pizza, je le fais manger la pizza. The pizza is your new direct object, so Al would then have to be relegated to a lui. So in that situation, you can't have two directs together. If you said, I heard him eat it, je l'ai entendu la manger, then you've got two directs there, haven't you? Because I heard him, direct, eat it, direct. So for the very grammatically minded amongst you, I accept that that's different. Anybody else that just was completely lost for the last 3 minutes, that's no, or 30 minutes, that's fine. Just press pause, watch the video again. Okay, guys, so a big fat cough grammar video to welcome us back to some logic language learning work. The Sunday classes should be available, although sadly my other grandma is now not very well. And so I will probably be travelling tomorrow. So fingers crossed that I will be around. All right, guys, lots and lots of love. Thank you for your ongoing support and the lovely comments. I do read them. I know a lot of you have emailed me asking me stuff, but it is just a really, really busy time. I will do my best. I do also teach about 50 hours a week as well, which, you know, people forget. I don't just do this. Okay, guys, lots of love. If you have found this useful, please click like, please subscribe, and please do remember I have a Coffee account, Kofi, the website. If you look me up on Logic Language Learning, or in a couple of days, there will be a link underneath. The podcast is still available. Do please let me know. Lots of love. Take care.